Welcome, everyone. I would like to call the Williamsburg Independent Board of Education meeting to order. Kim Williams will do the roll call, Donnie Patrick the Pledge of Allegiance, and Roger Faulkner the moment of silence.
Alan Steele. Roger Faulkner.
Here.
Donnie Patrick.
Here.
Kim Williams. Here. Kim White.
Here.
Stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would everybody please remain standing for a moment of silence? Thank you.
Approval of today's board meeting agenda. I need a motion to approve today's board meeting agenda.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign? The motion is approved. Recognitions and resolutions, which includes the Going the Extra Mile Awards and student recognition.
Okay, this is my favorite part of the night. Sorry, I do love seeing my board members. Okay, so if you've never been here for Going the Extra Mile, here's how we do this. We have our staff members and students and community members can nominate staff members who they would like to present an award to because they've been caught going the extra mile. And so one of my favorite things that we do is we read exactly what staff members write about whoever has been nominated. Also, I hope to never have a board meeting where we don't have student celebrations. That's the purpose that we're here, and we always want to honor our students for what they've been doing. So the first one tonight for Going the Extra Mile is Miss Amy Jones. Someone wrote, "Let me just say, Amy Jones deserves an award simply for dealing with me daily." By the way, I don't have their name either, but that would be great. As a newer educator who quickly jumped from the classroom into the counseling world, I've depended on her support, guidance, and expertise more times than I can count. And bless her soul, I ask questions all the time, and it's in all caps. The same ones over and over again, and she still smiles and answers like it's the first time she's ever heard that question. Amy and I share the same heart for our students. We want what's best for them academically, socially, emotionally, and beyond. She shows up every day with unconditional love, ready to help any student or staff member, usually me, who needs her. She also puts in the extra effort to connect with our secondary teachers, offering monthly SEL, and I'll say what SEL is. SEL is something that we have a huge focus on here, and it's the social and emotional learning piece where we're teaching students how to overcome hard things. And I will say, Ms. Jones does an amazing job of making sure that we have tools to do that. And creating opportunities for collaboration so our Jacket family stays connected. Amy goes far beyond what's in her job description. She leads with heart, serves with purpose, and gives our kids exactly what they need. She has truly made my transition smoother, my work better, and my days a whole lot easier. If Going the Extra Mile were a person, it would be Amy Jones. Come on up, Miss Jones. I could not agree. And actually, the funny part is, I just said to somebody the other day, you know, I can ask Miss Jones the same question over and over. She just smiles and says, "It's okay, I'll answer it again."
Thank you.
Thank you. You're awesome. Okay, the next one was written for Miss Christy Stewart. When I think of Christy Stewart, one word immediately comes to mind: resilient. I agree. And not the cute Pinterest kind of resilient. I mean the real kind. The kind where life throws 12 curveballs, a kitchen sink, and a tornado your way, and somehow you still show up for students with a smile and a clipboard, ready to run an assembly. I've seen Christy handle more challenges than most people will ever realize, both in my years as her student and now as her colleague. And recently, during one of her most challenging seasons, she still planned a baby shower for me. That alone tells you everything you need to know about her heart. Even when she is carrying her own load, she somehow finds room to lift someone else's heart and their load. It's no surprise that over the years, so many students have said she's their favorite teacher. Christy is personable and transparent, professional and accepting, knowledgeable and fun. She brings joy into her classroom and keeps her school events running like a well-oiled machine. Pep rallies, assemblies, award ceremonies, she makes them look easy, even though we all know they're not. She empowers student leaders, supports every grade level, and pours into our students day after day, often giving far more than she ever expects in return. Teaching is one of the most selfless professions, and Christy embodies the truth in every way. She doesn't just go the extra mile, she builds the mile, paves it, decorates it, and then invites everyone else to come along for the ride. I agree with all of that. So come on up, Ms. Stewart. I'm starting to see a pattern and feel like I know who wrote these. I will say, many people don't realize, Ms. Stewart, the other things she does. With her gifted and talented students the other day, I was in Walmart rushing around trying to get something for our family engagement. And I see Ms. Stewart pushing a cart and a trail of Williamsburg kids behind her. And I said, "What are you guys doing out of school?" She said, "Oh, we're shopping for our Angel Tree student." And so it was funny. It was a load of high school boys shopping for a 9-year-old girl. So
Barbies.
for Barbies, it was great. It was great.
We had
So
fun
we
time.
appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, this one is for Miss Sarah Smith. I will say Miss Sarah Smith is one of the teachers that she had a complicated position last year. I honestly didn't even know those two subject areas even would combine in someone's brain. She was teaching high school English, high school science, and middle school English. And so she carried both of those loads last year. So this year she's teaching middle school English. So this person said, "I've only known Sarah Smith for about a year and a half, and I can honestly say that even though we are very different people, she is one teacher I never have to question when it comes to having her students' best interest at heart. And I don't just mean academically. Sarah is just as invested in their social emotional well-being, their confidence, and their day-to-day needs as she is in their test scores. Sarah is strategic and consistent, one of the most type A humans I've ever met, and I say that with a lot of love. But everything she does has purpose and vision. Nothing with her is just a checkbox. Every detail matters, every decision is thoughtful, and every move she makes is for the benefit of kids. Even in my new role as a counselor, she continues to push me in the best ways. She supports my ideas, believes in my passion, and is usually the first person to volunteer to help execute the plan, but not before she critiques it first. I love that. Offers her perspective and helps me refine it. And honestly, that's precisely what great educators do. They collaborate, challenge each other, communicate openly, and work together to make sure students are getting the very best. Sarah goes the extra mile by choice, by habit, and by heart. Our students and our school are better because she's in it. Come on up, Miss Smith. If you guys want to see a really great exhibition of learning, next time she does this, we need to invite some of our board members to see how you have your kids talking about changing the world. It's amazing.
They're presenting their memoirs on Thursday.
Okay, there you go. You're invited.
What are we doing?
I would like to say
Taking a
this
picture.
about Ms. Smith too. There are
You take that.
several things that she has given us feedback on.
Yeah,
as
it's been
school
great.
Leaders that we
Yeah.
really appreciate too, and not just feedback from her, but she takes the time to gather feedback from her students.
Yep.
And that means more than anything, because having their perspective and their suggestions to help us make decisions
Okay, the next one is Miss Megan Nichols. Megan actually started with us as she worked for Gear Up. And then, was it last year that you moved to 6th grade?
Yes.
Wow, what a different world. And so now she's our 6th grade science teacher. So this person wrote, Megan Nichols, she planned a field trip for 8th grade science students. She coordinated with all the teachers and communicated with the Challenger Learning Center, students and parents to take 8th graders on an experience they will remember forever. Her enthusiasm and creativity increased student engagement each week, and she is willing to do whatever it takes to create experiences for her students. Her compassion and relationships with students alert other teachers to student needs. And she is terrific to have on a team because collaborating with her means that you can trust that things are taken care of. It is hard to believe this is only her 2nd year teaching. Her students say she keeps us in line and makes the class fun. She gives us educational activities and doesn't just let us sit in our seats the whole time. Even if it's not her subject, she goes out of her way to help us learn. And I will speak as a mother. My daughter absolutely adores Miss Nichols' class, and when I ask her why, because being an educator, I want to know why, she always says, well, she just cares about us, I can tell. And I'm like, well, how can you tell? And then we observed, Miss Ellis and I observed in her classroom, and I think it was vastly noticeable that kids felt loved by her when they came in the classroom. It was very obvious. And so, Miss Nichols, we appreciate you. Come on up. Sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, we do have one more staff going in the Extra Mile Award, and this one we had to kind of keep secret. So, thankfully, I've got a little elf in my office, Carrie, who helps me do all the things, but I am going to read this one. Actually, 2 people nominated this person, and so this one is for Miss Shauna Norris. She keeps everything organized, and her gentle reminders, this is what one person said, her gentle reminders, I do like that, gentle reminders, never make me feel shame. Although I should, I always forget to turn in my sub form. Her communication is consistent and clear. Every time I see her in the hallway, she smiles, and she has middle school lunch duty. What a woman. That's the first one. I agree. The second person said, Shauna Norris wears more hats in our school than anyone I know, and she is constantly on the move, planning, organizing, and making sure events, including the board meetings, run smoothly. But my favorite hat she wears is the one we share, middle school lunch duty. Shauna and Chandel remind me daily to be a little more assertive, said jokingly and with lots of love. That small slice of chaos has become a lot more enjoyable and easier because of them. And on top of all of that, she still puts up with me constantly irritating her about ordering things or fixing the copier upstairs. A true saint. Shauna goes the extra mile in everything she does, and our school runs better because she's in it. I hate to say it, but also Miss Parton and I would agree that she is like our personal shopper. She's Uber Eats. She will help us decorate whatever we ask her to do. So anything we ask. She runs the swag shop every month for the PBIS store. Every month. So Shauna, come on up. And I don't know where she keeps the Make a Difference little glass thing, so I couldn't sneak and find one. Carrie was trying, but it took everything we had to find a frame, because she keeps them on lockdown.
I bet she does. Does she keep the tables on lockdown?
Oh, the tablecloths are on lockdown, and it was a whole thing when we couldn't find them this evening. Okay, I did not write this. Miss Susanna Rice wrote this, but I want to say to our board members, you're sitting among the stage for the second grade play that will happen again tomorrow. And we have already talked about Miss Rice, but she took on a role this year to help us plan and organize Christmas in a Small Town, help us make sure that the 30th reunion of the Angel play came off without a hitch. It was amazing. We had our family engagement last night, and so many people stopped me to tell me how awesome it was. And I mean, it was a great event. But she had 3 helpers, and just because my office is over here, we were able to hear. I said, I wish. Well, you mentioned it, and I said we'd talked about this. I wish we would have just recorded our second graders when they first started on the first day. There were more tears, and she was one of them. Pretty sure. There are tears. There's so many things happening trying to get these second graders ready for the play, and then compare it to where they are now. Their growth is huge. But she had 3 helpers that I can tell you, because I heard it every day, that she could not have done this without. And it is 3 of our student leaders, and I think, and I don't know, but are all 3 of you in the teaching learning pathway? No. 2? 2 of them. Well, I think you need to stick with it, because you've got a gift for sure. So here's what Miss Rice wants you to know about these 3 girls. Tonight I want to take a moment to recognize 3 remarkable young ladies who have gone above and beyond to help make our second grade Angel play a true success. Miss Cash Barton, Miss Giovanna Ballou, and Miss Kiana Ballou. Their dedication, patience, and willingness to serve have made a difference in ways far beyond what the audience sees on stage. These young women are more than helpers. They are future educators. They already carry the heart of a teacher, the compassion to guide younger students, the knowledge to problem solve in the moment, and the dedication to step in wherever they are needed. They have shown responsibility, leadership, and genuine love for helping others learn and shine. I am incredibly proud of each of them. If this play is any indication, their futures in education are bright, meaningful, and impactful. I cannot wait to see the classrooms they will one day lead, the students they will inspire, and the difference they will make in the world. Thank you, ladies, for your hard work, your hearts, and your commitment. Williamsburg is lucky to have you, and the future of education is fortunate to have you too. So, Miss Rice, you come up with them. I'll let you. Oh, yes. Okay, Giovanna. This one's Cash. This one's Kiana.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get a picture. You girls did rock it with them. Thanks. Okay, thank you so much.
Regularly scheduled November 18th board meeting minutes. I need a motion to approve the November 18th.
Were the
regularly-
corrections made? Okay,
Yes.
Corrections were made.
then I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Next up, our superintendent's report.
Okay. Okay. I have, being a superintendent is not an easy job. I know no one could have warned me of what it's going to be like, and I would have believed them. But one of the things that I am most proud of as a superintendent is my leadership team. And when things are extremely difficult, it is wonderful to have a team of people that I can look to and help me solve problems. Be honest, be frustrated if they want to be, but they're also learning as I'm learning. We're all pretty new leaders. And so I am excited tonight that we have, last time Ms. Parton shared with you the WISD expectations, we talked about the fall data review. And through our partnership with Elgin, Josh and I went to the district leadership retreat, and it was their monthly meeting. And they talked about your school leaders doing data deep dives. And I love that idea because they're the ones leading the work in the classrooms. And so every Monday we meet in our student learning team meeting, and we just hash out what do we notice in learning. We look at data, we look at lesson plans, we look at what standards we've covered and whatever. So this last one, actually 2 Mondays ago, I challenged our assistant principals to share their data deep dives, just a draft of it, and that's what was attached in your agenda. But tonight, they've got some information on their learning. What have they learned based on our student data? And sure, we have our KSA results, we have MAP results, but also we think about the whole child and where do we want to go from here, things that we've already put in place, things that we will continue to put in place. But when you have a building of one building with ages 3 to 19 all in one space, it doesn't mean they all learn the same. And so we're going to go in order. I'm sorry, Ms. Winchester, but we are going to let Mr. Moses go first and talk about what he's learned about elementary. They're very competitive, just so you
It's
know.
okay, I knew he was gonna get to go first.
Yeah.
I planned this for him.
So he's going to share with you what's in these blue folders. That's what he's provided. He's a UK fan. Anders will be in orange for Tennessee.
A little happier now than you were the other day, though.
A whole lot. Okay, thank you, Ms. Housekeeper, for the opportunity to share with the board some good news. If you can, as Ms. Housekeeper referenced, the blue notebook, you can follow along. It's just got hard copies of the presentation that you see up on the board. So the purpose of the presentation, we want to try to understand some of these student performance trends, interpret teacher-generated data, prioritize the big ideas that result from kind of mining this data, explain our current response, possible future responses, and then examine our teaching and learning conditions. We'll talk briefly about the 23-24, 24-25 KSA. We'll do the same for MAP growth reading. We'll talk a little bit about our Elgin regional ranking for the fall of 2005, which is much improved from last fall. Then we'll spend a lot of, well, not a lot, but some time talking about our data day that was just awesome. And then a little bit about instructional time. So go ahead and turn to data collection. One more. Got it. Okay, so this is our MAP reading fluency, and this is a diagnostic assessment that we use. It has been approved by KDE, and it measures the early literacy skills of our primary, so K1 and 2. And up first we have the kindergarten, and what you're seeing there, the top dotted line represents proficiency, and the red line represents grade levels. And you're seeing the average percentile of a kindergartner at Williamsburg, okay?
I found when I was at KSBA that a lot of our board members statewide didn't understand percentile.
Yes.
So could you help us out there?
Yeah, no problem. So if you see the average percentile, so instead of getting like a scaled score that's 392, you see the 42, the 56, and the 56. And what that represents is where they're performing compared to other students. So and again, the red line, so the 50th percentile would be grade level, which is the red line. And then the black line is 60th percentile, which is proficiency. So you can see in phonological awareness, we're at 42, then 56 and 56. So we're meeting grade equivalency in phonics and word recognition, and also in language comprehension, and still have a little bit of work to do on phonological awareness. Next. We'll look at the same for first grade. First grade has done an incredible job this year. One of the things that I'm very proud of is our first grade teachers and their focus on phonological awareness, which is a foundational skill used to be an independent reader. And so you can see our first graders, or the average first grade student at Williamsburg is above proficiency in phonological awareness. The average first grader at Williamsburg is at or above grade level in the two other skills, phonics, word recognition, and language comprehension. And then we'll look at second grade really quickly. Second grade is even more impressive. the average second grader in phonological awareness is a 71, so that's 11 points above proficiency, and again, that's average. And then in phonics and word recognition, we're at 50, and then language comprehension, we're at 57. So we're meeting grade level and even higher in all three categories for first and second grade, and then 2 out of the 3 in kindergarten. Next. Okay, next, our KSA scores. You can see these are status scores, and this is without the change, the plus and minus, the growth factor. And we went from a 72.6 to a 61.4 in reading and math, and in science and social studies and writing, a 57 to a 42.9. I will say that the 61.4 status score for this year for reading and math is well above the state average. And then 42.9 for science, social studies, and writing is within the average range in the state of Kentucky for elementary schools. Moving on. The next one is in comparison to our CDIP goal. So we have reading, writing, math, science, social studies, the tested areas. And what you're seeing there is the percent of students that are novice. Okay, so we have 22, 21, 19, 2, and 42. And the line indicates where we want to be, which is, according to the CDIP, is at 15% novice. So novice reduction is going to be a point of focus for sure. But I would like to point out science only had 2%. We only had 2% of our students score novice in science, which is a bright spot. And then next we have the percent proficient and distinguished. You can see there 46, 32, 30, 31, and 23 percent proficient or distinguished, and then according to our CDIP, we want that at 50%. So that is another growth area for us. Next. Now we move on to MAP, which is it is a norm referenced test, meaning that it's compared to all the other students in the United States. And what you're seeing there is the percent of students at or above grade level, okay? And in the first column is our fall 2004 percent of students that are at or above grade level. And then the next column is our percent of students at or above grade level for fall of 25. And then you can see the growth, whether we went up or down. We went up in kindergarten from fall to fall, went down in first, went up in second grade by 17%, up in third grade by 31%, up in fourth grade by 14%, up in fifth grade by 17%. So huge gains with that from fall to fall compared to last year. Next slide. We have a similar statistic up here for math comparing fall 2024 to fall 2025, and K went down. First went down just a hair. Second, we're up. But I want to really focus in on third, fourth, and fifth. So third, we're up 26% in math from fall to fall, and 37% in fourth from fall to fall, and then about 5% in fifth. So again, huge gains. So what does this all mean? Well, the interpretation, and I'm going to go over just briefly here kind of the interpretation from my standpoint, administrator standpoint, but that's not the most important thing I want to talk about. So KSA reading and math scores remain above typical or state average. The MAP reading growth this year out of the Elgin schools that are in the initiative.
How many are there? Do you know?
Oh.
Or about?
As far as the schools are concerned, there's about 38 or 39 schools.
Okay, so to be ranked fourth in Elgin region is a really
yes.
good accomplishment.
Yes, it's by far the highest ranking. We've been a part of Elgin now for 5 or 6 years, and this is by far the highest ranking we've had in that initiative. 10 percentile point gain in math, 13 in reading, and 17.5 in language. We did have a decline, of course, in the KSA status score, which I noted the need for improvement in novice reduction, increased proficiency, and our social studies, that's an area of focus for us in fifth grade especially. And then just strengthening the testing culture, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. Now, the next slide, this is probably the most important, okay? This is on our data day. We put all of this information in front of the teachers. We split up in elementary, middle, and high. And we had the opportunity for our teachers to look at the data, mine the data, and try to figure out and make sense of what's going on. So I tasked them with looking at the data, and I asked them this question. Based on the data reviewed, what are the specific actions that we can take to increase student learning and support the well-being of students? Now, if you look on there's a yellow Post-it that's kind of serves as a index, and on the Post-it I put the teachers' comments. So and maybe not now, but sometime over Christmas break maybe, you can read the teachers' comments to that specific question, and we had about 37 responses to that. So the response rate for this was really, really high because we have passionate teachers that care. And what I did at that point was I thematically coded their responses, the comments, into big ideas. And you can see educational disruptions, alternate setting and safety, accountability, exit criteria, instruction, SEL, motivation, and behavior. So out of those comments are summed up by those thematic codes, okay? And I had the teachers then prioritize the impact of those codes, 1 being low impact, 5 being big impact. And then I calculated the occurrence of the codes, got the average impact of each comment, and then I went through and conducted a feasibility assessment, 1 being feasible, not very feasible, and 5 being very feasible. And then we got an average priority score that takes the thematic codes, the number of occurrences, times the average impact, times the feasibility, and that gives you a priority score. The higher priority score, the more attention, the more immediate attention that it needs, okay? So, next slide. How do we respond? This is our response to these barriers to instruction. And overwhelmingly, the educational disruptions that are happening in the classroom, according to teachers, this isn't necessarily my interpretation, this is the teacher's interpretation. Educational disruptions are a massive barrier to the learning environment, okay? So what I've done then, and this was an idea that was given to me by Miss Housekeeper, and so I've been tracking the instructional time lost, okay, due to these disruptions, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. Now, a lot of you all may recognize, and I don't know, he's probably not watching this, but if he is, I'm going to give him a huge shout out. He's already been recognized here a ton. Mr. Faulkner, we have this year especially really focused on providing an alternate education setting temporarily for our students to focus on social and emotional learning, because our enrollment is up, which is a great problem to have. In fact, it's not a problem. But with the increase in enrollment comes challenges that students bring to the classroom. And so what this data is telling me and is telling our teachers is that we need to be able to respond to that data in a way that meets the needs of those students, but also the rest of the students in the classroom. So I've been tracking this time, instructional time lost. The future response could be to expand the good things that Mr. Faulkner's doing in his room. He needs a bigger room, and I think over Christmas break we're going to maybe try to move some things around, hopefully, and try to make that happen. But to create more resources, because we're seeing such a positive impact from that setting for him, and he does a great job, as you all have seen many times. I think making sure that we have consistent implementation of the IEPs is crucial. We're working to do that. We have improved our 504 plans in terms of how they're created and the accommodations in those. And then one thing from a gen ed setting that we're doing, or that we have done, is incorporate performance bands to help differentiate the Tier 1 instruction, to help accommodate some of these students that have a lot of various needs. Instructionally, also, we have focused our Tier 1 instruction, which is probably the thing that I'm most happy about, is our improvement of Tier 1 instruction. We have, I've conducted about 50 walkthroughs. 15 to 20 have been in Bullseye, which I'll talk about in just a second. But the Tier 1 focuses goal setting, explicit teaching, modeling, questioning, discourse, and feedback. And those are all research and evidence-based that come with a high efficacy rating from John Hattie mainly. So we're doing walkthroughs focusing on those things. We've placed a huge emphasis on the fidelity in terms of the HQIR and making sure that the rigor's high. Also included in the appendix here is an example of a good faith foldable, and that is to help with consistency across assessments. We really have a tale of two assessments. Our MAP data is telling us one thing, and our KSA is telling us another. And so if we can get the students providing a good faith effort and using some strategies to help them take tests consistently, then I think that'll reflect better. And a lot of it is just identifying power verbs in questions, eliminating choices, things of that nature. Then exit criteria is another huge highlight from the teachers that came out of the data. They really want exit criteria especially in the primary in K1 and 2, and we're working with them to get that accomplished, and that's something that will probably have to be put in front of you guys, but we're going to have some teacher input because we're having situations. We just want to make sure the students, before they go on to the next grade level, have the foundational skills to be successful at that grade level. Staff accountability is another kind of highlight that the teachers recognized in the data, or at least maybe a response to the data. And we have created staff expectations, and then one of Miss Housekeeper's mentors came down last year and taught us some awesome stuff about HR, human resources, and how to effectively hold staff accountable. And it's not just about teacher accountability, it's about staff accountability. And we all need to be held to the same standard, the high standard that you all expect. And so we're working toward creating a staff accountability system based on Dr. Hubb's input from our meeting last year. Motivation, I've got the teachers had some great comments about the positive behavior referrals and how that is a powerful tool, especially calling home, because a lot of times when me and the other APs have to call home, or maybe Miss Parton, it's sometimes not good, and so for them to get a phone call from us that is positive is impactful for sure. Also, one thing about motivation, we were fortunate enough to go down to Florida and look at Ron Clark's house system. That was actually something that was mentioned from the teachers.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and it mentioned Ron Clark specifically, and how the teachers think that would be. Yeah, sure. And how that would be a huge motivating factor for teachers, students, and give them kind of an identity within an identity. Now, the staff retention is another kind of focus area, I think, for the elementary. About 79% of our third, fourth, and fifth grade teachers are new or are teaching in a different area than they were 2 years ago when we were blue, and that's no doubt had an impact on the data. And so I have really focused my efforts on really trying to support my teachers as much as possible and give them feedback on their walkthroughs. If I need to make copies, whatever I need to do for the teachers, but also really focus on follow through. I'm kind of a big ideas person, and Ms. Housekeeper can relate to that, but we have these big ideas, but I've really been focused in on trying to really work on follow through. If I say it, then, and if we dream it, then we need to do it. And so, so last slide real quick. So I as the teachers track the total incidences, and I'm talking about educational disruptions, usually having to do with behavior, they also put in the amount of minutes of instruction lost. Okay? And again, these are teacher numbers. It's updated automatically. We had some teachers put information in today. And so as of right now, we've had in the elementary, we've had about 689 incidences of educational disruption stemming largely from student behavior. And the lost instructional time to date is 5,409 minutes of lost instructional time due to some of these issues. And I, along with the teachers, are encouraged by what they are able to do and what we have done already, but realize that this is an area that we need to collectively and collaborate together to work to try to find solutions for. If you look in there's a summary here also that's just got key points, celebration, strengths, areas for growth. It's got the themes, recommended focuses, solutions, and moving forward. So, but that's the data dive from an elementary standpoint. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
The discipline, I mean, other districts are having half the same problems we're having. I wonder what they're doing.
So one of the things that we did this year that has improved our behavior and our discipline, in our behavior referrals are way down. But this information is not just about disciplinary issues. It does include disciplinary issues, but it also includes the behavior from students that need interventions, okay, in addition to discipline. So what we've done this year is, and we modeled it off of a local school district, and we met with them in the summer and took their behavior system, basically, and molded it to fit Williamsburg, and I think it's been very beneficial. However, there are some tweaks that I think need to be made, but we are committed, the APs and our building principal, we're committed to the system. The system gives, it tracks not only discipline but interventions, and it restores some of the disciplinary power back to the teachers, which is something that they said they wanted. And I think has been effective. But within that discipline system, before a teacher can write a detention or make an office referral for a detention, they have to go through a series of steps: warning, conference with the parent, and all that has to be documented before. And I think that's helped a ton.
And that was in the new code of conduct and the student handbook that you guys revised.
Right.
I mean, our APs and Ms. Parton worked all summer long rebuilding those structures so that, I mean, I am a firm believer, and I love everybody that works in a school district, but in my mind, there is nothing more important than a teacher. There's not a job out there, you can't convince me that there's any position more important than a teacher. And so what we do often is listen to those teachers, and I do believe that parents, when you send your kid to the school, you're expecting that teacher to love them and take care of them. And by providing behavior supports, like Dr. Moses said, we don't ever want to take the power away from the teacher, because the teacher is in the trenches building those relationships. And so this was designed as a way to support teachers the most, but also not take things away from them that they need to build trust and hope with the kids. And so, I mean, this is like our first round of this. So feedback, we're still collecting it, and whatever adjustments we need to make next year, we want to. But I have seen much growth since we've made those modifications.
And it's unfortunate because we don't really have data longitudinal data to
Yeah.
compare to this.
But we will next year.
We will next year, but I know for a fact
Yes.
that the total minutes of instruction time lost, if we were tracking it last year, would be double that, if not more. But through the efforts of the discipline system and also the incorporation of Mr. Faulkner's focus on social and emotional learning, it's working. I just think we need to put more into it.
And when Ms. Winchester gets up, you'll hear her talk about, I mean, one of our focuses has been protecting instructional time. That has been the drum she's been beating all year. And so that's critical. We've noticed, when he came in this morning and gave me the updated minutes loss of instruction, that's just in our elementary. It's like, oh, that's a lot.
I know one of the complaints as a board member that I hear is discipline. So, and that was the reason, I think teachers should have more power. And then after that, the principals should have whatever they need to, if it goes up to that next step. And follow through with that.
As you guys read through his presentation and notes, I know that some of you definitely will. If you have other questions, I commend you to send them to me. I'll make sure Dr. Moses gets them. And any ideas you have, we want them. We want them. Okay? come on.
Sorry for taking up too much.
No,
That
you're
was-
good.
Dr.
That was
Moses
way
will not be
longer.
that long, I
Sorry
promise
about
you.
that, but
Thank you
As
so
long
much.
as UK's not playing, we're good.
yeah.
Doc Moses can.
Tennessee's playing.
That sucks like a big orange.
Ms. Housekeeper, have you given them a copy of
I
my
did not.
table?
No, you were printing those.
Was that in the
Thank
computer?
you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they reviewed it through
Yeah, it's
the
in the
link.
computer.
Yes, yeah.
I just didn't have a hard copy. Thank you.
Unlike Stephen, I'm going to give a snapshot because kids will be rolling in on the buses here in just a few minutes. And we'll, going to give a brief progress snapshot of middle school, focusing on my focus and what I'm going to be talking about is going to be actions that we've taken that are producing positive change and the next steps that we're going to be pursuing. So I want to talk about instructional strategies, assessment alignment, academic, and SEL outcomes, current challenges, and then, so go ahead there, Dr. Moses. So to meet diverse student needs, we have placed students in foundation courses using MAP-RIT scores. These fifth and sixth period foundation courses use high-quality instructional resources along with online tools to provide both enrichment and Tier 2 support. We've also implemented district common assessments aligned to priority standards and purchased some high-quality instructional resources, or HQRs, for math and ELA in grades 6 through 8. For social studies, there were, in math, reading, language usage, and science, we've used MAP to measure progress, but MAP doesn't have a piece for social studies, so I've taken and developed an IXL using the Kentucky Academic Standards and the blueprint for that KSA, and we give that as we're giving the MAP assessment now. That way we can measure their progress in social studies as well. And we use that data that we gather to tighten and refine our Tier 1 instruction. And then moving on to the next slide. So those shifts are producing measurable results. MAP scores in math and reading have increased. In science KSA, we have moved students out of novice. We have reduced novice from 42% to 29% in science, and distinguished did rise.
So we have none in the novice in science.
I didn't know, we reduced them from 42%
Okay,
to 29%. So
understand.
there was a
Okay.
13% reduction from the year prior to that year. So KSA results are mixed, though, with some areas like social studies, as mentioned before, which is why that IXL diagnostic is so important. On the SEL front, we now provide every student with weekly Wednesday SEL lessons during STEAM and a 3-week character strong rotation. So our current school climate and culture surveys show that there are clear strengths. Students overwhelmingly report that adults care, they listen, and they expect them to do their best. Go ahead. And we are candid about our challenges. So documented behavior, prior to my first year in AP, was 32, and then when I stepped into that role, there were 286 documented behavior discipline resolutions in middle school. Disruptive behavior, physical aggression, and bullying being the most common. Student effort on formative assessments has also been a concern. There's been notable percentages of students that are completing items in less than 30 seconds per question, which is correlating to the lower scores. So in response, we have clarified our code of conduct and standard disciplinary responses. We've expanded targeted counseling and behavior interventions, doubled down on our weekly SEL instruction, and launched incentive and engagement strategies such as the Hive Awards, which is Ms. Stewart, and strengthened advisor interactions. We're also providing focused feedback to teachers to build enthusiasm and improve engagement. Student mental health does remain a significant challenge for our middle school and continues to affect our attendance, behavior, and academic engagement. We are seeing increased anxiety, emotional regulation needs, and trauma-related behaviors that interfere with learning. So to address this, as stated before, we are expanding that SEL instruction, strengthening counseling supports, implementing targeted interventions, and requesting additional resources from our mental health partners. So while we do, we will continue to sustain that HQIR implementation, common assessment cycles. We're going to continue to use those IXL diagnostic data to refine that Tier 1 instruction and target SEL and behavior reports where incident rates are the highest. So we're going to continue to monitor disciplinary data quarterly and then expand on professional learning for restorative practices, classroom management, and student engagement. And if you don't care, go back, Stephen. Something I want to point out is, go back one more. The SEL climate, the student perception is strong for that caring and support, and that comes from the survey with KSA. The school's caring place, 81.8% of the middle school students felt that they are cared about. 85.6 was the index on caring and listening. And then go back forward another one, Stephen. And then on the handout that I've given you, I've done some with Miss Collins. We had seen the very last page on the mental health. To date, you can see there the number of students that have been referred for screeners. and there have been an additional 374 conferences, and that's this year alone, with students that are concerning, whether it be mental health, grades, academics, or conflict resolution.
So I do want to just interject that when he shared the data from the year before he was assistant principal to the year he became assistant principal, if you think back, one of the first things I said when I got here was our teachers need more support. Our teachers need people that are going in the classroom providing them just feedback on what their day looks like and what they can do to help and how to be a better instructor. But also, I felt like our middle and high school needed more behavior support. Basically what you had is you had our counselor who was doing the behavior piece while also tracking credits, trying to get transcripts done and get kids ready to graduate. So I don't want the public or anybody in the community to think that Dr. Miller's first year, we had hundreds times what we
No.
had the year before. The bottom line is those things were happening, but there wasn't enough time or ability among our leaders to document it, actively talk to the student, talk to the teacher, and follow up with the parent all in the same day. And if you ever walk in our building and you see Dr. Miller, this is what you're going to see. I call it his blankie. He's got to have it wherever he goes because he's constantly tracking and monitoring the result and the action plan and creating a plan and talking to all of the parties. So while it may look like or seem to the public, wow, your behavior's really jumped up, no, they didn't. They were here all along. We just didn't have it documented. And so now we can give you numbers of our mental health referrals, numbers of our behavior incidents, and all of your touch points, and we can guarantee that that's accurate because we have a documentation system that is giving you that. So while we might not have longitudinal data across all kinds of settings, we will now. We have great systems in place that now we can track it. Just like our staff attendance, we're tracking it consistently now so we can see where our areas of growth are.
So, and as much as I would like to stand here and say that all of this is my brainchild, it's not. I owe a great deal of gratitude to my middle school team. So those folks are boots on the ground every day. We're working really hard and something I was asked is what am I most proud of? I'm proud that we have built a coordinated data-driven system that puts student needs first, whether it be academically, socially, behaviorally. So, any questions?
I just want to say I'm proud of that too. It's taken us 3 years to get here, but I can see so much progress. And I will also drop a little nugget. Dr. Miller loves to add a p-value, do some type of statistical analysis of all the things we do. And we have to say, and Ms. Winchester will say, I don't even know what you're talking about. Put it in words. So we had to do that.
But all the math is done.
But the math is there.
Thank you. Okay, so I don't really need a microphone, so, I feel like if I talk in it, I'm gonna be screaming. So, when I gave my presentation, like, to our student learning team, 2 Mondays ago, someone said this about what my presentation was. It was the windshield view. So, like, I don't wanna dwell on what was. What are we looking forward? What is the future? So what I just gave you is something that I did a student survey
actually yesterday, and it closed today at 3 o'clock. So I probably actually have some numbers in there that, or numbers in my survey that are not here. So because I didn't have a ton of time to analyze the student survey, I did use AI, and it helped analyze it for me so that I could get something very quickly and not have to sit here and dig through it today, because it was so recent. So anyway, so if you'll go to the next slide. Well, I'm gonna look at where we are now. And I know I'm a math person, but I don't have a ton of numbers for you. I have statements for you from those numbers. If you want the numbers, I can share the spreadsheet that I have. I've got celebrations. I do have teacher and staff comments and thoughts. And you see I have student thoughts, and then what we already have put in place, and then what we're going to be doing. So according to MAP, KSA, and state accountability, this is where we're at. The majority of our students in the high school are performing below benchmark. That's just the bottom line. When we look at our reading and math, it's below benchmark. Math is our greatest academic need, which breaks my heart, but it is. And reading and math is what we're really going to focus on. Reading is really strong in 10th grade. We had a pretty good scores in 10th grade reading. There's still some gaps that continue from middle to high school. From 9th to 10th grade, that transition, the reading did improve. This is from these test scores. But then when we go back to 10th and 11th grade, we've got some dips in our overall performance. Okay? One thing that I am very proud of is our post-secondary readiness. We did improve that with it by an index score, I think, of 5. We went from 83 to an index of 88, which is pretty high. So we did improve that. So that's kind of where we're at now. I know that's not all kinds of numbers for you, but at this point in time, I'm tired of looking at anything that's gonna bring us down, and I wanna move forward. Okay, so next slide. So we do have some celebrations. To me, yes, high school is about your testing, but high school is it's a totally different beast than elementary and middle school. I've got stuff like we've got CTE that we have to deal with. We've got our post-secondary readiness. We've got tracking credits. I mean, we've got to make sure there's all kinds of things that go into high school. So again, celebrations, 10th grade reading is a highlight for us. Our CTE pathways are thriving. I can give you some enrollment numbers if you would like that, the difference in the enrollment from last year, 2 years ago to now. FFA, that is, I know you guys know, we've done recognitions here. FFA is thriving. DECA, Educators Rising, I know we started that this year, correct? Educators Rising, TSA is continuing. I think we're restarting HOSA. Okay, so all of these go with agriculture, and then DECA goes with our business pathway and our marketing pathway. Educators Rising are for our teaching and learning pathway. TSA, that hits our cybersecurity pathway and our graphic design pathway. And then HOSA is our biomedical allied health. And anything that we put in, most of the time, has a club that has to happen with it. So all of these are just competition, they're clubs that are competitions, really. And then I've got the post-secondary readiness did increase of the 5 points. Industry certs, those are increasing. Our Corbin ATC enrollment increased by 50%. Last year, there were 14 students. This year, there's 21. Next year, with the help of Ms. Housekeeper and the principal down there and Ms. Parton, I think we're going to look at trying to get more people in, if it's possible to do 2 buses a day, if there's just so much that the ATC offers for our students that are, it's demand around here, the demand of the workforce. We're in the middle of doing our CLNA, which is our community needs assessment ultimately, and the hands-on work, the plumbers, the welding. I've got kids on a waiting list for the welding class at Corbett ATC. I had kids actually have to take HVAC instead of welding because they didn't have spots enough for welding. Welding is very high in our school right now with the kids. Our PLCs are improving our assessment quality. I know Mr. Dallin, Ms. Whitworth are doing an amazing job in our PLCs, and then I run our CTE PLCs. Right now, we're looking at our numbers and who's going to be taking our end-of-program exams and our certs. But sitting in on Ms. Whitworth and Mr. Dow's PLCs, they're really good. They're building assessments and then going into planning the lessons, and they actually present the lesson to their peers and get feedback from their peers. So the PLCs are really, really a big plus for us over the past couple of years. And I know it's improved just from last year to this year. It's improved tremendously. Go ahead. So this is from talking to teachers. I know you guys all know I'm a talker. I know you hear me before you see me, so that's just what it is, right? So I do talk to the teachers and the kids, and so these are some things that the teachers have kind of put out there that they feel like are the barriers of why maybe our test scores are low, why kids are not at benchmark, why we're not meeting what we need to meet. There is lower motivation and positive attitudes towards testing. I hear a lot, well, what's it going to do for me? What's it going to do for me? So I think in the grand scheme of things, we as admin, we as teachers have to make sure that the students know, like it's embedded in the instruction. Like it's not necessarily a test that we're preparing for, that it's just we have the type of questions that are on the math KSA are what we're given in our math classes. The type of stuff that are in the writing exam, that's what we're doing in our English classes. And I think that on my very last slide, and I guess I'll bring it up, it's the students model how we are. The students model our behavior. So if we show excitement and importance on things, they kind of start picking up on that. If we show complacency, then they're going to pick up on that. Just like attendance with staff. If we're here, then they're going to think it's important to be at school. If we're not here, then they're like, well, why am I coming to school? What's it matter to me? So then I do know for a fact that verbally out of kids' mouths that some of our students last year did not on purpose put forth their best effort. How do you combat that? So that's kind of the things that I'm battling here at the high school. And I think that that's just a change of the culture and the mindset of the kids. And I think my teachers are willing to take that on, because I will tell you, since the scores have come out, we have kids that are very embarrassed. We have kids that are like, oh my gosh, when they see where we're ranking on at against other schools, they're like, oh my God. They really, so me and Ms. Spartan have actually talked, and I think when we get back from Christmas break, we're going to show the kids their test scores. And we're going to show them where they land with our surrounding schools.
We believe as a team they deserve to know.
Yeah.
That's what makes us all intrinsically motivated.
Yeah.
To know where we are and where does that compare, and then let them be a part of their plan.
Yeah.
How do we get better?
Yeah. So, and I think that's such, I'm glad you said that, because intrinsically motivated is what I think we're combating. I think that's what we're combating. Huh?
Have you asked
Yes.
them why?
Yes.
Well, that's what you have in your hands. What's in your hands is the survey. So that's gonna kind of get to, why did they not put forth their effort? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I think it's a lack of what's it gonna do for me.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, they take the ACT seriously, they'll take the SAT seriously, because they see a purpose for that. That's gonna affect their future. And so we've gotta find some way to let them know and for the KSA to have a purpose for them. It's a
They wanna
pride
own
thing.
it, and they want
Own
we
it.
want them to. Because here's the thing, I say this all the time to our staff. We've already arrived, all of us. So let's let our students fail in our safety net,
Yeah.
so that we can pick them back up and show them how to be resilient. And so part of that is us teaching each other. Honestly, us teaching each other. Why does this matter? I was an elementary brain. So when I came to high school world, I'm like, oh my gosh, why does it matter to them? Let's talk this out in our student learning team meeting. Teach me, Andrea and Miss Parton, why does it matter? How should it matter? What are we doing to make it matter? And does it matter in their real life? You know? And so we talk that out first, and then we have those conversations in PLCs, and now we're at the point where it's time to have those conversations with students.
And your teachers are really on board with us. They're really on board with it being embedded into their instruction, and with those expectations that Ms. Parton presented. There are expectations of the test prep type questions. Those are embedded in the expectations. So I know Ms. Housekeeper said I pound on this, but loss of instructional time is just, it's so enormous. And that's not just when you think about your field trips or your assemblies. That's chronic absenteeism. That's kids not coming to school. That's,
But chronic absenteeism, we've learned, is not just the kids. I mean, we talked to you all about this, but chronic absenteeism is their excused absences. Like, if you looked at Zayden Housekeeper, the
Yeah.
amount of places he goes because he's involved in everything.
Yeah.
It's looking at it. That was the whole point, and we'll get to the action item in a little bit on the field trips that we talked about last meeting. But they're missing in instruction, and we're not saying that's always bad. It's just creating a balance.
there's gotta be a balance, and
Yeah.
we've gotta find that balance is really what we have to do. But then it also goes out to, we have a big SEL problem. We have a big mental health problem. And students they do need to see the counselors. How many Bridges counselors do we have now? We have 3 guidance counselors in our building. We have 3 or 4 Bridges counselors. We have outside agencies that come in. We have mentoring kids that come over and people that come over from the college. And so all of that is also pull-out times from class. So then you just have to calculate all of that stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, instructional time. So we just have to find a balance with that. And then the last one here, I think is so important, and I don't want this to be seen as our teachers don't know how to implement IEPs or 504s. That's not what this means. What this means is we have a lot of option 6 teachers. We have a lot of teachers that didn't go through the system like I did, like doing the student teaching and learning how to implement the IEPs. We have a lot of people that didn't go through that. So I don't think it's necessarily we need trainings because they just aren't doing it. We've just got to teach them how to do it. And so I think we need to get some more trainings on our IEPs, 504s, and classroom management. I think those are 3 huge things that will absolutely help with high school. Okay, go ahead, next one. Okay, so I did give a student survey. I had planned on doing this. I can't take credit for this. I bounced some ideas off of my twin. She was in here a couple of board meetings ago, Miss Jackie Harsh. She's my twin. apparently. We're so much alike. But I met with her one day and we just kind of started bouncing ideas off of each other. And she threw out the idea of surveying the kids ever so often just to make sure you keep a pulse on the high school. I'm like, oh my gosh, why would I not think of that? So I created a survey and I gave one yesterday. And I had students to do it yesterday and I had about 25 more students do it today than what was yesterday. So I had 104 responses out of about I guess we're about 240 something in our high school that are not including virtual. So 123 people did our survey. So that's kind of why this is an AI type of analysis, because I wanted to leave it open until 3 o'clock today. But the students generally feel safe and supported by adults. They feel safe here. They feel supported here. And they feel like a positive experience about their school. So it's not necessarily that they don't feel like they're loved. You know, one of the questions asked, it was a yes or no question. I have a trusted adult that I can contact in this school. 96%, 95.9% students said yes. That says volumes to me.
That's huge.
I mean, that's huge. But also, Ms. Parton had come up with something this summer where every Monday we do an advisory check-in. And so we created a little thing that teachers fill out, and that is one of the questions. Do you have an adult that you trust? And if a kid says no, then we work to find them an adult. Motivation is driven primarily, so I did put that in there, and I gave them some choices. But the motivation is driven primarily by their grades and their future goals. It's not driven by our expectations. It's not driven by what their peers think. It's driven by their goals and what affects them. So here are the bottom two are a little bit of the ones we need to work on. They did report inconsistent levels of academic challenges. So I've got some kids, I'm going to tell you, I won't say his name. I had a kid come to me today. I know he would not care if I said his name, but I'm not going to, obviously. He asked me, he said, can I please take college pre-cal or college algebra in an 8 weeks class? I need to be challenged. And so I worked with him, and I know that he's not gotten what he needs from us to do a college pre-cal class. He's not gotten all the content that he needs to get pre-cal. I know he's not. And so I talked to him, and I actually put him on our online platform. And I know that you're probably going to think I'm crazy, but if you are actually going to sit down and do one of our online platform classes, like if you were to do Algebra 2 on our Edgenuity platform, it is hard. It is hard. Without cheating, it is very hard.
It's self-paced and you're teaching yourself.
I mean, you watch your videos, you do this. I mean, it is so hard. And the Algebra 2 content, he needs that to do pre-cal. So I gave him that. I put him on Edgenuity. I said, click around. See what you think. If this is what you want to challenge you, you can do this, and then we will get you in pre-cal over the next 8 weeks. So it's a matter of sometimes we just don't offer the high enough classes, and I think that is an attribute of we don't have enough staff. We don't have the math teachers to offer a pre-cal class, because I actually had to add in an Algebra 1 class this year at a week before school. We had to add an Algebra 1 class to one of our teachers a week before school because our enrollment jumped so much. So engagement, that's being taken care of. We had some students they don't experience instruction as bad, but not reliably strong. So when Mr. Moses was talking about Tier 1 instruction, okay, so those of us that don't know, Tier 1 instruction is your prime instruction in the classroom. That's my main focus for high school. We can't intervene our way to high test scores. We can't intervene our way to being a high school graduate. It has to start with Tier 1. And then once we get our tier one instruction where it needs to be, then we're gonna start doing our interventions. Next. And I'm almost done. So what we already have in place, our PLCs are improving our tier one instruction. I can see that visibly with my eyes. I can see it. We're in classrooms, I'm in there and I can see it. We are improving consistently through grade level school-wide expectations. There's a link there. I don't know if you guys have our link, but that is a link to our school-wide expectations. Protecting instructional time. Me and Ms. Spartan talked, and so she's gonna look at the field trips and the time we're out of class next in the spring, and we're gonna, really try to control that and get a hold on it and make sure that we're not out of the classroom. Benchmark assessments, this is something, the high school is not really, there's not a lot of data that we had that was relevant. And measuring in between learning. Because if you think about KSA, well, I could look at this year's 10th grade scores, and I could look at next year's 10th grade scores, but it's a totally different group of kids. So you're not comparing the same thing. So the benchmark assessments, so we got priority standards for all of our core classes, and the benchmark assessments for our math and reading are gonna be given every 9 weeks, and we're tracking progress. It's gonna be stuff that they should know by the end of the class. So they're gonna get stuff wrong. They're not gonna get 100 on it unless they've already had the class. But I mean, it's gonna show progress for us. Unit assessments, we're doing that by a common tracking with pair assessment. That's a program that we use. And we are doing learning walks and observations, daily. There's tons more, but I've already been up here enough, right? I'm starting to look like Mr. Moses over here. Okay, next slide. Here we go. A little dig. Next slide, please, sir. Thank you. You're welcome.
Stop.
He's like my brother. Come on. Okay, so
I know, and I'm the mother.
I know she has to break us up all the
Be
time.
nice to
I know.
Guys.
So, piggybacking off of Dr. Miller's idea, our sting coming back from Christmas break is gonna look totally different. I'm gonna take our MAP scores and I'm gonna do an intervention and enrichment plan. I'm gonna take our scores and we're gonna break them up. I'm gonna sit down with Dr. Miller and we're gonna talk about where we break them up, how we're gonna make it fit with my staff to where sting is utilized 3 days a week for intervention/enrichment. Quarterly climate surveys, I talked about that already. We're gonna continue to monitor our assessments. We're progress monitoring our CTE soft skills. So what does that mean? That means that all of your CTE pathways, their end of program exam have soft skills. And they're all the same standard, but just a little bit different for each pathway. And so we've got a way of tracking that now so that we can track how we're gonna be doing on our EOPs. We're doing a practice SAT for both 10th grade and 11th graders. I would love more than anything to bring back attendance incentives. I loved more than anything get pied in the face. I loved that.
Then tell a boy back there. in
Get
that corner.
water ballooned attendance incentives. Can we work on that? I would love to get pied in the face.
Pretty sure it's on his
for that.
professional growth plan to add it. Think
And
we can do
then
one.
my last thing, I said it before, model the culture we want to see. If we want to do
Yes.
better, we want to be better, we have to be better.
Yep.
And that's it. That's all I got. Questions?
What's your absolute proudest moment?
So I have a couple. Personally, I'm so proud that I'm able to still have the relationships with kids that I do. It means so much to me. I had a kid message me last night about, he yelled at my nephew in the locker room and he messaged me to apologize about feeling so bad for it right after the game. And it meant so much to me that he thought enough to apologize for yelling at my nephew, even though he already apologized to my nephew. So my proudest moment personally, just the relationship that I have with my kids, I love. My proudest moment, I don't know. My teachers are on board. We're getting there. I can tell you that I know, even though I don't have the data to prove it, and so how do I know? I don't know how I know, but I know we're getting better. I know we're getting better, and I can say that with full confidence to you right now. I know our test scores will be better next year. I promise you. I can say that with full confidence, and I think everybody behind me will probably be shaking their heads yes, because I can tell you with full confidence they will be better. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
So I don't think our WEA representative is present tonight, so we'll just move on. If there's anyone present who would like to address the board, you may do so at this time. Okay. We're going to move on to the action and consent items of the agenda. So everyone is welcome to stay, but if you would like to exit, you may do so at this time. Thank you.
You have to stand up for a few minutes.
Okay.
I'm not leaving.
While everyone is exiting, I just want to say to you all that I'm very proud of these three. I was asked not to help them on their presentations or their data deep dives, which was very hard for me, let me just say. But I'm very proud of them, and I'm very proud of the work that they do every single day.
I think it's very obvious by what they have presented tonight that they've really, as you guys say, deep dived into, deep, I get that would be the word.
They dug deep.
They dug deep, that's right. And I think that it's gonna pay off.
I know it will. I'm so proud of my team, and man, it is not easy to meet for 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours after school every Monday, but it is worthwhile. It's important.
Okay, we'll move on to our action items. Number one, approval of revision to the 2025-2026 student handbook field trip expectations reviewed during the November 18th board meeting.
Ms. Parton, you want to share? So what we provided you guys is a copy. So for anybody who didn't see the November meeting, we had asked for 3 revisions to the student handbook, one in which was regarding field trip expectations. So you just heard Ms. Winchester talk about how critical it is for students who are failing courses to be in classes. And so our policy had said, or our handbook was written, that they had to have 4 out of 6 courses passing. But it did not identify which ones those are. And so if it's core instruction, we were starting to hear that. And so based on our minutes, Ms. Williams had asked, well, hold on, and Mr. Faulkner had asked us to revise it in a way that would not allow one teacher to have, basically clarify who was the final say on field trips. And so, Ms. Parton, you want to share what?
Yeah, so
Okay.
basically, there were 2 points that we really wanted to revise within that. We said, originally it said passing 4 of 6 classes, but we really wanted to hold students to a higher standard than that. And so we revised it to say they cannot be failing more than 1 class. And then the second thing was at the very bottom, that last bullet point that you'll see, was just a clarification statement on either myself or the assistant principal having the final say on if there's any conflicts between, well, this teacher thinks they should go and this teacher thinks that they shouldn't, that myself or that the assistant principal would have the final say in that scenario.
Thank you for working on that. I think that will help us all.
Yep.
All right, Superintendent Housekeeper recommends the approval of the revision of the student handbook. I just need a motion.
I'll make them, Oh, I'll
Okay,
second
is there a
it.
second? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Number 2, election of board chairman to serve for the 2026 school year. I would like to make a motion to nominate Kim Williams to serve as our new chairman beginning in January.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Congratulations, Kim.
You're back.
All right. Okay, now, next on the agenda, election of our board vice chairman to serve for the 2026 school year.
I'd like to nominate Donnie Patrick.
Okay? Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved.
You're good with that, right?
I was gonna say, shouldn't
I
they
did
accept
forget
it?
to ask him.
Yeah, too bad, it's in the minutes. Bam.
Okay. Approval of the board meeting dates for January through December of 2026. Superintendent Housekeeper recommends the approval of the board meeting dates for January through December of 2026. I need a motion to approve this action item.
That, just for clarification, that'll be still on Tuesday, the third Tuesday of each month through March. And then it's my understanding that we'll be changing to the third Thursday,
Yep.
just for the public to know.
Yes.
So
And those will
after,
be on our website after they're approved.
okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Okay. Approval to match at the present time of the current offer of assistance equaling $8,087 with district general funds. Are there any questions?
That's just our CAD's offers of assistance.
Okay. I need a motion to approve this action item.
Motion.
A second?
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Approval to pay $2,500 monthly retainer fee for legal services provided by the law offices of Crowley and Foley beginning January 1, 2026.
Is that, how much has that changed?
Okay, so I actually provided that for you guys. So he sent a new invoice, okay? So the way you guys have been paying him is hourly. So he documents every time he supports us, every time I talk to him, and so on. And I'm gonna be honest, he has never turned down a phone call from me. If he doesn't answer on the first ring, he responds immediately back. He comes at least monthly to meet with me in person. And I am telling you, there's no way this invoice reflects the amount of support he gives us. There's just no way. And so I think last year, Dalton shared with me that last year, we were billed for about $15,000 for the year, but he and I both agree there's no way that's all that he provided us. I mean, just from the text messages, the phone calls, the visits, he supports us in court. He not just, I've given him permission to work with Mr. Berta to answer questions for Dalton and for Carrie Hamlin, our Director of Human Resources. So he absolutely does not get paid for what he actually provides us. If he did charge us for every hour that he provides services to us, I don't know that we could afford him. And he's pretty good. And when he doesn't know something, he brings people on board that do know it. And so this $2,500 a month is a way to keep him from having to document every hour, send us individual invoices, and I believe it would be a complete benefit financially if we just did the retainer fee. That is my recommendation, that we pay him the $2,500 a month instead of requiring him to submit monthly, quarterly, whatever invoices.
I would totally agree.
I'll make the motion on that.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. We need, Next on the agenda, approval to enter into executive closed session, per KRS.
I make a motion.
I'll
Do I have-
second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. We ask everyone to please exit the auditorium for this executive closed session. Thank you. I need a motion to approve the early graduation for the proposed 3 high school seniors discussed who have all completed all required graduation credits. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. Approval of the monthly financial report, treasurer's report, and monthly balance sheet, November monthly bills, and the first reading of the WISD 504 handbook. Are there any questions?
The
Make a
only
motion.
question I had, and she already answered it, but there are very few changes from the 504 plan that we've had for a long time, so, our policy, I should say.
I need a motion to approve these mentioned items.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Okay, next up, our committee reports. We will have an update from our finance officer, Dalton Sizemore.
Did you second that?
Taxes have been going strong, and I'll just run over some numbers for what we collected for November of this year, and then you all have the paper that shows the comparison. We collected $246,446.25 in about 301 bills for November. Prior to November, we collected 267 bills for $118,428.79, which you'll see those dropped from comparisons of last year because our tax bills got out a little bit later, about two and a half weeks, due to the 45-day grace period with the tax increase. We have 9 exonerations totaling $14,516.72, and then we have 1,189 bills totaling $923,405.66 remaining. As of 11:30, I can tell you right now, today, that has went down a lot. We've taken in a pretty decent amount of taxes in the month of December. And then when I ran the numbers today, I think our collection percentage is about 45%, so we're almost at halfway. We're still waiting on a couple of our escrow tax booklets, which will take a giant portion of that remaining total out. And then our collection percentage compared to last year, we're almost caught up to where we were last year. We're about 1.4% lower than what we were last year. The end of December board meeting, those numbers will surpass last year's. And then just a quick audit update. I don't know if you all have seen that they pushed it back to the end of January, so the state won't even look at our audit until that time due to state and federal regulations not meshing together. So, any other finance questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll have a staffing update from our HR Director, Carrie Hamlin.
I'm real short tonight. There are no new hires and there are only 2 resignations. Elizabeth Woodford as food service worker and Chandel Chin as assistant high school cheer coach.
Thank you, Carrie. Well, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, like sign. The motion is approved and the meeting is